What is going on, Sports Wars? We're here. We're live, at least on YouTube. Rumble tells me we're having a few problems right now, so I'll try to get that sorted in just a little bit. We are in March Madness, ladies and gentlemen, the first weekend of March Madness. And, you know, your team might have played well. They might be in the Sweet 16 right now. They might have more stories out there about their stupid, dumbass manager than they do about the team itself. Like John's McNeese. I did not even know that John Matrix went to McNeese.
Yep.
But he did, which
went to McNeese. I got to talk to Joe Dumars because he played basketball there. And he came and spoke when I was graduating. So, yep, been a part of McNeese for like 30 years.
That's crazy. So, but yes, Purdue, our Purdue Boilermakers got the better. We dominated that game. That was a great fucking game for Purdue, to be honest with you. I was nervous, just as I am anytime Purdue plays when it's ringing one and done. But now Matt Painter, Purdue Boilermakers, 6 out of the last 8 Sweet 16s. We are rolling. And we meet Houston, your Houston Cougars. And basically what's a home game for us because we're playing at Lucas Oil in Indy. It's about hour and a half from West Lafayette, hour from West Lafayette, maybe.
Not my team. I was never a Cougar. I never liked the Cougars ever since I was a little boy.
But you're in Houston now.
Yeah, but I mean, I grew up like 60 miles away, and I live in Houston, but I was never a Cougars fan. I was always an Aggie fan, Texas A&M.
Well, Fear the Beardo, how you doing? You don't have a team that you give a shit about. If you did, it'd be USC. But
yeah, if I did give a shit about college basketball teams, it would be USC, but I don't really have an allegiance to any team. But I've had a good time, man, watching March Madness the past 3 days with you guys over on Geeks and Gamers Locals. It's been a hell of a time, man. A lot of good games, especially last night. We had like 3 games that came down to the wire last night. So no, I've had a good time. And I'm looking here. Looks like Giancarlo Stanton is going to be out longer than expected for the Yankees. The Yankees are so fucked. They're so beat up right now to start off the regular season here in a few days. But other than that, I'm really excited for opening day on Thursday.
And we're going to be covering that, right?
We're going to be covering that.
I'm a little bit worried about the Astros. I have no idea why Jose Altuve is in left field. I get that he's an aging player. He's still great on offense. I get that his defense is lacking at second base. But the guy's my height playing left field, and he's making errors. I'm not even blaming him because he's not a left fielder.
It would be one thing if he was, your height playing left field and could actually field a routine fly ball. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to just stick guys out there and expect them to be great.
Yeah.
And apparently this was his idea.
They did it with Biggio, and Biggio, of course, all-time great second baseman. His defense started lacking. They threw him in the outfield, and he wasn't a great outfielder defensively.
Now, Mauricio Dubon's going to play second, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, look, my Cubs went out. The Cubs got to take part in basically the humiliation ritual of fucking playing the Dodgers in Japan in the middle of March, like 2 weeks before everybody else has opening day when they're still in the middle of spring training, just so Shohei Ohtani can get a fucking massive reception. The MLB can give him home runs that he shouldn't actually have. All this bullshit. So the Cubs are off 0-2 before everybody else even gets to opening day, which isn't super fun.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Little Orphan brings up a good point. If it wasn't for Yordan Alvarez, Altuve would DH. Yeah. But the thing is, Alvarez is bad. It's just too great.
Yeah. How are your Angels looking? How are your Angels looking this year, Beardo?
Trash as always. Trash. Artie Moreno is one of the worst owners in baseball. Doesn't give a fuck about the team. Won't spend the money on free agents. We never develop our pitching rotation. Artie Moreno only cares about upgrading the stadium and advertisements. That's all Artie Moreno cares about. I cannot fucking wait until Artie Moreno dies.
Wow.
I'm being serious. He's never going to sell the team. Artie Moreno's never going to sell the team. So the best thing for the Angels would be for Artie Moreno to pass away. But then again, I don't know. Maybe his fucking wife is just going to run the team and just, make it even worse for the Angels. I don't know. It's going to be a long season for the Angels. Mike Trout is moving to right field, I believe. He's not playing center field because he's trying to, nurse some of his previous injuries. So he's not going to be as active running around in center. They're sticking him in right.
And he's always been hurt lately.
Mike Trout's career is sad, man. It's worse than the Griffey injuries, to be honest, because it started earlier and just continues to nag.
And no matter who the Angels got, I mean, of course, Mike Trout is moonwalking into the Hall of Fame, but boy, he's just been in purgatory with the Angels.
Yeah. Well, recently, yes, he's been plagued with injuries, and I fear that Mike Trout's career is going to end up the same as Ken Griffey's, just like what could have been kind of career.
That's kind of what
I kind of said. I think he did have a second act. He did have a second act with the Reds. He wasn't shot.
Exactly. I feel like Mike Trout, earlier, has missed way more than Griffey did. Yeah. Already. That's what it feels like. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's constant. It's not only one thing. It's continue to be different things all the time, it seems, for Mike Trout. And it's sad, dude, because when he came in on a tear, Bryce Harper and Mike Trout were rookies together, right?
Oh, very close, because Mike Trout
may have been pulled up for a couple games before that, before that season, right?
Yeah, when Mike Trout was drafted, he was in the farm system for a little bit. He got pulled up for the very end of the season, and then the next year, I think he might have even started in the farm system again, and then they really brought him up for almost the full season, I believe. They were right around the same time where they were the young bucks of the MLB.
Yeah, and he was electric, dude. And this is before he really built out, and he was making insane plays in fucking center field. He was fast as fuck, great arm, 5-tool player, everything. Yep. The injury bug, man. Started hanging around Albert Pujols.
He had Albert Pujols there too.
Mm-hmm.
And starts getting injured.
Torrey Hunter. Yeah. Him and Torrey Hunter were best friends.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He got called up late when they expand the rosters that last month of the season, right?
Correct.
His actual rookie year. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, the Angels are going to stink. Just like always, like I said, Artie Moreno either needs to sell the team, or unfortunately, we're going to have to wait until Artie Moreno passes away for the Angels to be good. So it is what it is. But yeah, this Thursday on Geese and Gamers Locals, we are covering opening day all day long. It's going to be an all-day affair. So it's going to be a lot of fun over there.
And yes, we've been watching past 3 days. I don't think we're going to do it today. We just got too much stuff going on. But last 3 days over on Locals, we have been doing March Madness watch parties, which we'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to take a look at the updated bracket, take a look at the games that are happening today. But before we get to that, we got super chats and stuff like that. So let's catch up with some of these. Zenny Biscuit for 5. Tistastic wins the Louisiana Derby, and Final Gambit wins the Jack Ruby, clinching their place in the Sky Derby. Jack Ruby, huh? There you go. Thank you, Zenny Biscuit, for the horse racing update. That's awesome. AJ Gutrung for 5. I'd love to get into baseball this year, but it's hard to sit through a game. The Reds usually suck. Also hope my UK Wildcats make it far in Madness. So they got a game tonight. Trying to make the Sweet 16. Thank you, AJ. Chris Coran, Ryan, how's your women's tournament bracket doing? I don't fucking know. It's going to be interesting to see, after the insane numbers we saw from the women's tournament last year, with Caitlin Clark specifically, the reason behind that. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes this year for them. We do actually, the first round of this March Madness is the highest view they've ever had for men, which I don't actually think, and you can't really do much to control this, right? But these first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament are fucking great because of, some upsets, some mid-majors against powerhouses, some teams that are sweating it out down the stretch. But importantly, and we have had some good competitive games, but we haven't had any game-winning basket, buzzer beater. We haven't had any of those moments.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple opportunities for some moments like that. We haven't had overtime games. Like, we have not had some of these thrilling finishes to these games that people come to love about March Madness. But nevertheless, a lot of people are tuning in right now. A lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
BJ, let's go Huskies. 1 down, 5 to go for a three-peat. Funny how people here in Connecticut don't give a shit about women's team anymore. They haven't had a title in years while the men keep winning. They got a tough task. Today. They're going up against Duke, I believe. UConn trying to keep that 13, 14 game win streak alive in the NCAA tournament, whatever the hell that is. They're playing Florida, not Duke. They're playing Florida, not Duke, but it is going to be a tall task for them. Dom H drops 10 gifted memberships.
Let's go.
Shout out Dom. Taker, I was watching BYU Wisconsin. There's a hilarious scoreboard glitch at one point that made the score 225 Wisconsin to 38 BYU. Yeah, it was fucking randomly fluctuating at points during the game. It was kind of wild. I'm sure Wisconsin would have liked it to stay that way. Because there was times during that game it felt like Wisconsin couldn't buy a bucket. All of a sudden they had 300 points on the board. But yeah, I did see that. Dom H for 5. Twitter or X is crazy. What is it doing? What is X doing? Not working or something? Or
did it get hacked again?
Mike Hill, embarrassing. Clemson scored 13 points in first half. Bro, Clemson had one of the most embarrassing displays I've ever seen against McNeese. Second half, they came to play, man.
First half.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really, last 10 minutes of the game, they came to play. But it was bad. And it's like I said, it's not that I particularly felt McNeese was playing great basketball or anything, especially in the offensive end. Clemson was just miserable that first half. Couldn't overcome. Ben Ryder, I picked Houston in my bracket. They barely hung on last night. Scary for me to watch the last 5 minutes of that game. Loving the tournament. It was tight for Houston. Gonzaga hung in there, finally made a push right at the end. And look, they had an opportunity to tie that game and couldn't really get off a quality shot at all. And, Houston survives. Number 1 seed Houston survives and advances, which is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Stranger, Florida going all the way. Let's fucking go. Can't wait till baseball season starts. Beardo's simply the best.
Shout out Matt Stranger.
I got Florida meeting Duke in the national championship.
Nice.
Florida, very popular pick. Duke, very popular pick as well. B-Chain, that's not fair, Beardo. He's got to make Angel Stadium look as great as possible for when Supercross comes around every January.
He's not wrong.
Matt Stranger for 5. Philly's lineup is smoking the ball so far this spring. Hope they can keep it going. Let's fucking go.
Phillies have an impressive offense.
Connor Akers for 5. Hey, Beardo, how good do you think Nick Ardenhart could have been if not getting killed? Aidenhart could have been if he not got killed in 2009. Felt like the Angels made a deal with the devil after winning the 0-2 World Series.
We'll never know how good Nick Aidenhart, could have been or would have been. He died in a car accident after his first ever win for the Angels. Literally left the stadium, got in a car accident, and died after his first win in the big leagues. Well, in 2002, the Angels were owned by the Autry family, I believe, still. And then Artie Moreno bought it shortly after that. So I don't know about a deal with the devil, but Artie Moreno's just not interested in winning.
There you go. As long as you're making money, I guess. Virginian for 5. I can relate to Beardos. The past 2 years have proven to me Steelers are screwed until Art Rooney 2 dies. Also, the Nationals are trash. Thank you. Well, we do, a lot of people speaking about death. I guess it's a appropriate time to bring up a sad passing that we had. If I can go pull this up, and I'm glad John is here because John probably actually remembers this stuff as opposed to me, who's just seen highlights and things like that. But sad news we got yesterday out of the sports world as George Foreman dead at 76. This is reported on TMZ last night, and it was tough to know if it was real or if this was actually happening or whatever. But no, boxing legend George Foreman passes away at the age of 76. And like I said, John, you're a big boxing guy. So I'm sure you watched some George Foreman back in your day. But what did you feel when you saw this headline?
Well, I was kind of surprised. George Foreman lived probably 15 minutes away from me in Humble. He is a legend. People don't realize, though, how people heard about the George Foreman grill. You guys don't realize how big it was in the 90s.
If it was like
massive,
essentially a viral sensation, right? Like that,
it was insane.
That's what it was.
Everybody had one.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted a George Foreman grill.
We had one at my house. We had one at my grandma's house. We had one everywhere.
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah.
I had a George Foreman growing up.
Yeah. As far as his boxing career, of course, I was way too young to see his first act. But I remember that Michael Moore fight in 1994 when he shocked the world.
45, 46 years old or whatever.
45 years old and became the heavyweight champion again.
Yep.
A right hook to Michael Moore. He went down. One of the greatest sports moments I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who kind of started his career late. It's not like he grew up like going to be a boxer or whatever. But obviously he flourished, had all that power. The famous Foreman Ali fight is, historic, obviously. But, 76, for a guy like George Foreman, who probably didn't take as many hits to the head as a lot of other boxers have out there throughout their entire course of history because of his retirement and the gap and stuff like that. But still, you take punishment as an athlete. And
he was a power puncher.
He was.
Ali, I can't believe Ali took all those blows from George Foreman doing the rope-a-dope, because George Foreman had a ton of power.
Yeah. So R.I.P. to George Foreman. Somebody who seemingly, from all accounts, loved his family, loved America. 76 years young. Rest in peace, George Foreman. That was sad news.
Yep.
Sad news indeed. I don't want to show it on I don't want to show it on stream, but just this headline on TMZ reminded me. Did you guys see Tracy Morgan vomiting at the Knicks game the other day?
Yes. Like projectile vomiting on the floor.
Delayed the third quarter by 10 minutes. Yeah, they said he had food poisoning.
Sure he did.
I mean, maybe that's
food poisoning and a whole bunch of fucking alcohol. Yeah, fucking that's sniffies and alcohol.
Yeah, that's kind of what he had an uncontrollable. He vomited everywhere down his fucking chair and onto the fucking floor, and then he had an uncontrollable nosebleed. And I'm like,
yeah, that's sniffies and alcohol. He was fucked up.
It's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Let's see. We said that one. Stephen De Leon for you. How do y'all feel about Yo team's moves so far? By Yo NFL? Team's moves, are we referring to the NFL?
I'm assuming so.
I feel really good about the moves that the Bears made. The weaknesses of the team were the offensive and the defensive line. They've taken steps to work on that. I do not want. Look, I think that Ashton Genty might be fucking amazing. I don't know if I want to spend a top 10 pick on him. I've heard some movement about that being a possibility. I would prefer to get even more solid kind of up front, maybe whoever the best pass rusher is on the board at the time, maybe. But I mean, I guess if we get Ashton Genty, I ain't gonna sit here and cry about it. But I really liked what the Bears are doing. They came out strong. They had money to spend. They fucking spent it. They got guys who want to be there, which is great.
Yeah, the Giants just signed Jameis Winston. 2 years. I'm not mad about it. He's going to throw for 40 touchdowns. He's going to throw for 40 interceptions. He's probably going to have close to 5,000 yards. Malik Neighbors is going to be happy because he's going to have almost 2,000 yards receiving and maybe, 16 to 18 touchdowns. He's going to score every single game of Malik Neighbors, so at least keep Neighbors happy. But the Giants are going to go, 6-11. Last in the NFC East, probably. But we're going to look good doing it because Jameis Winston's just going to throw the ball away without giving a single fuck. He's just going to throw the ball downfield. So it is what it is.
High risk, high reward, man.
Yeah.
I'm
just looking forward to all the clips, man. Being there in New York with all the press and everything, all those Jameis Winston, interviews and stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I love Jameis Winston, man. He's fucking funny.
Well, look, they still have the Giants still have an offer out to Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
They still have a pending offer out there to Aaron Rodgers. And we might as well talk about some of that Aaron Rodgers stuff right now. Let's see. Boom. All right. Aaron Rodgers has still not decided what he wants to do yet with his career. There was some speculation he might just straight up say, no, I'm done. There was some speculation that he really wanted to go to Minnesota, but Minnesota said, you know what? I think we're good, Aaron. We're not going to follow the old Brett Favre thing for you. We're good. We're standing pat. We're not interested in bringing you in. But he still has standing offers from two NFL teams, the Steelers and the Giants. And reportedly, the Steelers offer maybe a little bit lower than what the Giants had offered to Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers went to the Steelers to meet with them the other day. And he walked away without a deal being done. And he's taken his sweet-ass time. That's one thing that's blatantly obvious. I think the odds right now, when you do look at the betting odds, when you look at all those things, certainly once he took that meeting and went there, they've kind of really shot up for him to become a Steeler. And I think that's kind of always what people felt was the favorite and the most likely thing to happen. But Aaron's enjoying the fact that, he might not be the 10 anymore, where he's got like the prom king coming up to him one end of the day, like all this shit. But he's at least feels like he's a solid 5.5 or 6, and he's the only one left with a couple options here. And I think he ends up with the Steelers. But I think the process and how long it's been drug out, I think it's going to already immediately turn off some of the people in the Steelers organization to Aaron Rodgers coming in and leading that team. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and you even had Cam Hayward the other day make some comments on a podcast, and he had to kind of retract those comments. He's like, listen, we're not doing no darkness retreats here. This is Pittsburgh. We have our way of doing things around here. If you want to be a Steeler, come be a Steeler, but we're not doing any of that funny business. And that took it as Cam Hayward didn't want Rodgers there, and then he had to go back and retract his statement in an Instagram video or something. Or if he was on a different podcast, I'm not sure. I think Rodgers to Pittsburgh is pretty much all but done. They just have to agree on a number. But if they can't, because we know that Rodgers is a very stubborn motherfucker, he could very well just say, you know what, fuck this. I'll just take more money with the Giants. But I think Rodgers wants to win. I think he knows that his legacy is in question now. Because he's had several great statistical years in Green Bay with nothing to show for it. And then he thought that he was going to get that, same kind of productivity in New York. And, simply that Achilles injury 2 years ago didn't help. And then last year, the Jets were just flat. So his legacy and reputation is in question here. So I think Pittsburgh is his desired destination. I think that's where he thinks that he can win now. But I
think he really wanted to go to Minnesota, obviously.
Right.
I think he really wanted that. And they basically said, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. Right. I think so too. So Pittsburgh would be the next best option. But if the money's not there and if that's not what he wants, then I don't think he'll have a problem going to New York. Although I still think he's going to go to Pittsburgh.
I don't think he has a lot of options. I mean, his best chance of just winning games is probably Pittsburgh. But Aaron Rodgers, man, he's about done. I believe he's just about done. He's, 40, 41,
he's
something
40,
like that.
He might be 41 by the time
he's 50.
By the time the season starts. Yeah.
He looks
all
like
that
he's
ayahuasca,
50.
man.
Yeah. All that Percocet that he takes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's probably going to be the Steelers. It'll probably be like a 1-year deal, maybe an option for a second. But I think this is going to be Aaron Rodgers last year in the NFL.
Let's hope this all gets done before the freaking NFL draft. But Aaron Rodgers taking his sweet ass time while his name is in the spotlight and everyone's talking about him, which I suppose is very Aaron Rodgers like. So it makes sense. Alex McCarthy, Clemson is my team because I was born and raised in South Carolina.
There you go.
Sorry you got your shit pushed in by McNeese, Alex.
Yeah, that was our first tournament win in program history. You want to know something? I actually used to play in the pep band. So I went to the basketball games. Nobody showed up to those basketball games. I'm just being honest. Burton Coliseum was empty. Nobody cared about basketball.
Play trumpet, John?
Huh?
Trumpet?
Huh? No. I played multiple instruments, but I played piano. I played clarinet. I was a music major when I was there, actually, at first, before I went to the military. But nobody showed up to the basketball games. People showed up to the football games.
Well, fucking NIL contracts lining up for some stupid fucking Down syndrome Asian fat fucking piece of shit manager.
Wow.
The Aura guy, Amir Aura Khan, or whatever the fuck his name was. I am so happy. I hope that all his NI deals get pulled and he fucking says, I'm done with life and bounces out of this world, honestly. I fucking hate that dude.
God.
I'm so glad that Purdue beat their ass. And
you know what happens, though?
I hope Purdue stole the Buffalo Wild Wings boombox and brought it back to West Lafayette. That's what I hope.
You know what? There's always a team in the NCAA tournament every single year that becomes like the darling of the tournament. It's always the underdog. This year was McNeese.
It all felt so forced, though. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it felt so forced with that kid.
What is he, a graduate manager?
He's an equipment manager, right?
Equipment manager.
Equipment manager. I think he's graduating like this year. But
I was like, I don't even know who he is. I had no idea who he was.
He's got aura. He leads them out with a fucking boombox, and maybe had like one random post go viral at one point, and then McNeese made it to the tournament, and fucking Buffalo Wild Wings and a couple other people signed NIL deals with him.
Well, we made the tournament last year too, but we didn't win a game. I don't know if he was there. I'm assuming he was there last year, but I don't know.
I don't know, man.
But tell us how you really feel about him, Ryan.
I do think I think it's ridiculous. I'm not going to say, everything that Ryan said, but I do think that it's fucking ridiculous that this equipment manager has an NIL deal and the cheerleaders are wearing his faces on their wearing his face on their socks, and they're showing him up on the, on the program and everything. It's so fucking gay is what it is. It's fucking gay.
But I'll say this, man. It's been a hell of a 2-year run for McNeese. I couldn't even tell you who the basketball coaches were before Will Wade because nobody could. Nobody showed up. Everybody knows about, at least in the McNeese circles, Bobby Kiesler won a lot of football games. Matt Viator won a lot of football games. I have no idea who was the basketball coach for Will Wade.
S. Morgan for 199. Can we agree now that SEC's bought all sports? Well, look, NIL is a thing, and it is a big fucking thing. We just talked about this stupid manager in the NIL. Like, I feel like that is, look, Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee. This year has been littered with very, very top-notch SEC teams. 13, I think, SEC teams made the fucking tournament, which is I think it was 13. Like, that's nuts. However, we do know that these schools have a lot of fucking money. And now that's not to say that that's the sole determining factor, right? It never is. But man, oh man, some of these teams are paying out the fucking. And this is why you see guys, Bruce Pearl for Auburn, Kelvin Sampson for Houston, guys who have a litany of fucking recruiting violations in their history, right? Now it's NIL, bro. Like, it's fun. We don't have to hide that shit anymore. We can just fucking pay these guys. And I do think when you look as well, maybe one of the reasons that we haven't seen quite as many big upsets and things like that, the transfer portal and the NIL. So no longer do you have these kind of mid-majors who have these guys who, you know, they were really a standout. They developed really way better than anybody else thought. And this mid-major has a guy that you wouldn't expect to be as good as he is for that team. You're going to have the Tennessees of the world, UCLA, North Carolina, like IU, whatever it might be, that say, hey, you look pretty good over there for Drake. We'll pay you fucking $500,000 if you come play for us. And transfer, boom, it's done. Mm-hmm. And I'm just bringing up like random shit. But you've seen that happen a ton. And
remember, you used to have to sit out a year if you transferred.
Right.
Which I always thought was dumb anyway.
Well, look, college is never meant to be like professional sports, right?
It's like the pros now, man. It's all about that portal. It's all about that portal and signing contracts.
Now that makes it significantly, like it's completely changed the game for coaches. We're talking about football, basketball, whatever. Yep. But, you know, not only do you have to recruit a guy and get him to sign there and get him to commit, but now every single year you basically have to recruit him to make sure he stays.
Yep.
You know, like that's legitimately how things are now. And
see, McNeese got smart because Will Wade signed a new contract last year. But if he signs somewhere else, McNeese got paid $1 million now, I believe, since Will Wade left.
Let me make sure we're caught up on Rumble. We are caught up over on the old Rumble side, but why don't we take a look, I suppose, at the current state of the bracket, if I can find where I'm at here. Yes, here we go. Let's check out the bracket. Now, we did have a couple 12-5 upsets, but those are the biggest upsets that we've seen, that we saw in the tournament in that first round. We saw, of course, McNeese, like we were just talking about, beat Clemson, and then Purdue put them back in their fucking place like they should have. Colorado State did upset Memphis. But other than that, you know, you did have Drake winning. Drake beat Missouri. Arkansas beat Kansas, and then went on to beat St. John's, which that fucked up a lot of people's brackets. Rick Pitino, John Calipari meet once again, and St. John's played like dog shit. The Big East Player of the Year played like dog shit and got benched the last 5 minutes by Rick Pitino because of him sulking and pouting and shit when he wasn't making shots and playing like shit on defense. So Arkansas certainly busted up some people's brackets. BYU, solid performance and a win over Wisconsin. Wisconsin fucked up at the end of that game when they had a chance to tie or take the lead, but BYU moves on. But we got 8 more games today. We've got UConn versus Florida, the defending champs, the winning streak on the line in the tournament against a team that looks maybe better than any other team right now, and that is Florida. The way they played to win the SEC tournament, they're hitting on all cylinders, and it's going to be a tough matchup though because you're going against that experience of UConn. So it'll be an interesting one to watch out for. That tips off right now. In fact, that game's getting started now. Baylor and Duke, again, I'll say a team in Duke who has, you know, arguably the best player in college basketball, a ton of talent, high expectations, against a team like Baylor who this is not up to their usual team for Baylor. But you've got a coach in Scott Drew who has a ton of experience. I think 24 or 25 NCAA tournament wins throughout the course of his history at Baylor. So we'll see how that plays out. Illinois, Kentucky, I think that's going to be a solid game. St. Mary's, Alabama could be a tough one for Alabama, who struggled against Robert Morris in the first round a little bit. And St. Mary's is no joke. They might not have all the talent, but they play the right way. So we could have potential upset brewing there. Colorado State, after beating Memphis, goes on to play Maryland. Big Ten's had a pretty good performance. I think the Big Ten's 10-2 so far in this tournament. So very solid performance from the Big Ten. Maryland's trying to keep that going for them. Ole Miss, Iowa State could be an interesting one. New Mexico, Michigan State. I think Michigan State is going to win. I got Michigan State in my Final Four, but New Mexico getting back to they've had a long stretch where they were looking rough, but with Richard Pitino now at New Mexico, it does seem like they've turned that around, had a solid victory in round 1, and now trying to take down the number 2 Michigan State Spartans. And then the last game of the night, Oregon, Arizona. I think that's going to be a good game. I think we're going to see a solid game between Oregon and Arizona. So we'll see. I have Florida winning, Duke winning, Kentucky winning, Alabama winning, Maryland winning, Iowa State winning, Michigan State, and Arizona. So I have a really fucking boring night. I think this day has probably picked chalk. But all those teams are still alive for me right now. So we'll see.
There you go. I wish I could say the same.
Well, we can check out our bracket. Why don't you pull up your bracket, Beardo, actually?
Fuck. I would need to log in. It'd probably be easier for you to click on mine.
So my bracket, it's not looking great. Closing on that 80th percentile, 34th place, so upper third in the Sports Wars group. So I'm gonna be real. Not my best for one of my worst first rounds, to be honest, in history. But I got 6 out of the 8 Sweet 16 teams from yesterday. All 8 are still alive for today. St. John's is the only thing that's really hurt me so far. I had them going to my Elite 8. That's not happening. But yeah, we got to find Beardo here.
Oh, I'm in like the 80s.
You're in the 80s.
Here's the thing. After the first day, I was looking good. That second day fucked me.
Here we go, Beardo. It is all about preserving those points, man. See, look at your points lost.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah.
So your Final Four was...
My Final Four was what?
Kentucky, Kansas, Auburn, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt.
Correct.
You had 3 SEC teams in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
And Tennessee and Kansas was your championship pick, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Tennessee's still alive, man.
Tennessee winning it all.
And that's like 400 points or something right there. So, you can shoot up quick if you get some of these right. You can shoot up quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that St. John's game. Oh, you had Kentucky beating St. John's, so that really doesn't hurt you too much, to be honest.
It was Kansas. Kansas is what really Kansas fucked me. Yeah.
Well, John, who was your pick to win the whole thing?
I really haven't been paying too much attention to the tournament overall. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a Duke fan. I'm not a University of Houston fan. I really don't care.
Okay. Well, McNeese is gone, so fuck McNeese.
Yeah.
But the BYU Wisconsin game was a great game last night. Came right down to the wire. So was the Houston Gonzaga game. Came right down to the fucking wire too. So Houston plays Purdue. I'm talking mad shit to my friend who's a big Houston fan. But ultimately I picked this matchup and I picked Houston to beat Purdue. But I'm going to be rooting for Purdue to bust my fucking bracket because I would love to see the Boilers keep on proving the doubters wrong. But that is a tough matchup. That is a tough matchup for Purdue.
Why didn't you pick Purdue to win the whole damn thing?
Because
I'm rooting for them.
Well, just because I'm rooting for them doesn't mean that I'm going to decide that. Well, I gotta fucking do this. I have to go based on what I think and try to remove my bias, So
I think you should have just picked him to go the whole damn way, win the whole thing.
I think I did last year, but I mean they made it to the national championship. But they were a one seed. They were a 1 seed last year. That's a little different, right?
Right.
with the season that they had. But this year, I've been talking for a couple weeks, maybe even months. I've been talking about what I felt Purdue's level of talent. I felt like a Sweet 16 was kind of the capability of this team. Like, if they're clicking on all cylinders and everything goes right, I think they can beat anybody. We've seen them play against Alabama. We've seen them play against Auburn. Like, I think they can beat anybody on any given night, and I think they have the guys to do it. But I think it's a tough matchup for them against Houston. But I'm going to be rooting for it. I'm going to be rooting for it. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. All right. Where are we? I said that. Alex McCarthy for Duke. Clemson's my team. Born and raised in South Carolina.
We got that one.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Gerald Armstrong for 2 named all his kids George.
That's true.
Yeah, he did. I forgot about that.
Modern audience, Richard Simmons. Mike Trout's goal is to be healthy for Eagles season.
Wow. Okay.
Dark Knight Rider for 2. Foreman's base as fuck. Wait, wrong Michael Moore. Thank you. Rob Cortez. Rodgers needs to sign with the Packers for 1 day, then retire.
Nah, he's too stubborn to even do that.
Stephen De Leon for 2. How about them Cowboys? You like what the Cowboys are feeling for this year?
No.
What have they done?
Year.
They haven't done jack shit. They haven't even signed Micah Parsons.
Nope.
I think, look, the Cowboys, and I think one of the undermentioned things is the fact that they let their best quarterback go.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush is gone, man.
He's gone. He's in Baltimore. It's true. And Trey Lance is probably out too, their second best quarterback.
Oh, God. I don't want to see him.
Okay, admit it, John. Rodgers or Dak? If the Cowboys were in the conversation for Rodgers.
Right now?
Yeah, right now for this next season.
I would take Dak.
No
Rodgers,
fucking way, dude.
This ain't Rodgers in his prime anymore. If it was Rodgers in his prime, it's not even close.
Yeah, but Dak's never had a prime.
Dak, I think, is better than Rodgers right now.
There's no way, dude. There's no fucking way. I'm taking Rodgers every single fucking day of the week over Dak right now.
Yeah, for 1 or 2 seasons. Yeah,
one or two seasons, you got to go with Rodgers over Dak.
Yeah,
even though I must say this, we need to start looking for Dak's replacement. Even though Jerry just gave him a shit ton of money.
Like 4 years and $500 million to pay him.
But if you do look at Dak, though, chances are he'll probably be healthy this season. Then he'll be injured the next season. That's kind of the way it's been going with Dak.
What happened with him is his hamstring injury. His hamstring ripped off the bone this year.
Something like that. Yep.
He might never be the same.
You better hope. He sucks. Taker for 2. Russ Wilson coming back to Seattle to manage a Subway.
Nah. Well,
I think that Russ is waiting on Aaron Rodgers just like everybody else, and I think if Aaron doesn't go to Pittsburgh, I think there's a pretty high likelihood they bring him back. They bring Russell Wilson back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if he does, then I think Russ signs with the Browns.
Mm.
They're the only other ones that brought him in, right? Did the Giants talk to Russ?
Yeah, Russ stayed at the Giants facility for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. So I think it's just all a waiting game, and like Aaron's the next domino to fall.
The Giants could still sign. Hey, if Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh, the Giants could still sign Russ.
Yeah. But then you wouldn't see Jameis Winston.
Well, maybe eventually, because Russ is going to have a few bum games, and you see Jameis Winston.
Is Russ Wilson done? He'll keep playing.
Yeah, he'll keep playing. He's not done yet.
Gerald Armstrong for 5. I heard the equipment manager's transferring to NC State.
Yep.
To follow the fucking coach? I don't know. maybe. Chris Pruitt for 10. With the MLB season around the corner, have you guys heard about the controversies around President Trump's travel bans that will affect MLB players from those countries? Is this legit or just hysteria?
I haven't
Where,
heard
to
about
Canada?
this.
The only one would be to Canada. Really? I mean, does MLB do the international games like the NFL does? Like, do they go down to Mexico to play games if it's not the World Baseball Classic?
I mean, all the people who are MLB players, like, have their shit in order in terms of their citizenship and like all these things.
Correct. Right.
Are they here on a visa?
Yeah. Like, so I don't think you're really going to be, if that's what you're talking about, maybe like Dominican born players and like all these types of things. If those are the things that you're talking about, I haven't really heard too much about it. But I don't think there's too much to worry about when it comes to MLB players.
I don't think there's anything to worry about. Like Ryan said, they have all their shit in order.
Speaking of President Trump, we got to talk about a different NCAA championship that's going on right now. If I can pull it up. This was wild, and Trump being there made this entire thing perfect. Absolutely perfect. I got to share the whole screen because we need the audio for some of this stuff because this was phenomenal. Let me see. Make sure I got the right things here. I do. All right. On the same weekend where everyone's focused on March Madness, there's another NCAA championship taking place, and that is for college wrestling. And, it's not going to get the same views or attention that March Madness does at the NCAA basketball tournament, but some pretty big things were going on, including President Donald Trump being there and witnessing one of the biggest upsets and coolest moments we've ever seen. Wyatt Hendrickson upsets Gable Steveson in craziest moment in NCAA history. And this all happened right in front of President Trump, who he saluted right after winning. But let's get into Trump even going there. He announced that he was going to go there, and all the wrestlers seemed excited. They gave awesome answers in terms of being excited about the president of the United States actually coming to watch this. And then, this is what you see when he walks in. What a crazy moment in pop for Trump. And then as he's going over to shake hands, you start hearing the USA chants. Fucking Elon.
Fucking Elon.
But yeah, pretty huge moment. And then he was there to witness what we saw right here. And, obviously, I don't think any of us are paying too much attention to college wrestling. However, if you watch ESPN and turn on sports, and every once in a while you do see these things. And a lot of people were talking about Stevenson, a gold medalist, a multi-time champ, huge favorite to win this. And then we see this. So Wyatt Hendrickson from Oklahoma State is down 4-2 with about 40 seconds left. And Hendrickson scores a 3-point takedown on the Minnesota Star Stevenson. And just listen to this crowd and to this announcement from Cormier and everything.
You just can't spend much time on your knees with Gable Steveson. 30 seconds left. Oh, he's to the left this side. Signed off. Oh, we're going to get big here. Can you believe this? Henderson with the three. Gable will hustle. The Olympic champ is about to lose. It's 13 seconds. This could be it. Oh, my goodness. The biggest upset in the history of the NCAA. Could this be it? Yes, he has done it. Why is such a big game?
Like just a crazy moment for this guy who like everybody thought Stevenson was kind of a lock to win it, and rightly so and understandably so. But then in the aftermath, we get this fucking moment. Oklahoma State's Wyatt Hendrickson salutes Trump after NCAA championship win.
That's cool.
Wyatt Hendrickson, who's in the Air Force, by the way, or at least was at some. I don't know if he's currently is or not, or what's going on. But watch this. After he upsets the favorite for one of the biggest upsets we've seen. What? Look at this.
Captain America. Captain America.
Rob, I can't believe it.
My jaw's on the floor.
He did it.
Hey. Shut up. Shut up. Everybody shut up. Shut up, Rob.
I'm glad that he was the last match.
That's what the last match.
That's the last match.
What a cool moment, dude.
Yeah, that's a great moment.
And I love that Trump as sitting president is going to these sporting events. It is something that I think inherently, when you go to sporting events, you hear the national anthem played, you see the flag displayed, all these things. There are things that are very inherently patriotic about it, which is why when people stage these protests during the national anthem, all this stuff, people fucking despise it because in large part, there's a huge overlap between people that love this country and people that love sports. And so I love the fact that he's drawn attention to things like this, that he's going to more events, and to have a moment like that happen in front of the president of the United States and be able to salute him in the direct aftermath. Just an amazing, amazing thing. So cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I wasn't planning to talk about NCAA wrestling this week, but I can't say I cover it. I can't say I'm too much of a big fan of, organized collegiate wrestling. I don't watch it too much.
That's a super cool moment.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
Someone said it's not real wrestling. Gable is a WWE superstar. I think he tried to be. So he won multiple championships and then tried to become a WWE superstar, and it didn't really work out. And he went back to try to win again. But he's a gold medalist. He won at the Tokyo Olympics. Like the guy who got upset.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy. All right. Wolfsbane. Seems like you can't have a Larry Bird anymore. Look, they are out there. I just think it's very easy now for guys who are standouts on mid-majors and small teams to go somewhere else. It really is. That's part of it. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. All right, but let's actually, speaking of NCAA tournament and baseball season and all of this other stuff, it's probably a good opportunity to talk about Prize Picks.
Hell yeah.
Shout out Prize Picks. You can go ahead and check them out in the description below. Let me pull this up while we talk about Prize Picks. Want to make sure I'm sharing the window and all of that good stuff. As you guys know, we've talked about Prize Picks every now and again during football season, basketball season, baseball season. Pretty much whatever you like to watch or whatever you like to potentially win some money on, it's there when it comes to Prize Picks. For you guys that don't know, Prize Picks is one of the biggest daily fantasy apps out there, right? It's the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And one of the benefits is it's kind of the best way to get out on the action if you're from some of these states where it might be tough to do so otherwise. I think at last count, they're eligible at upwards of 30 states. I think close to 45 states here in America. So that's huge, a big positive for them. And you can choose from several titles, not only from baseball, basketball, football, whatever, but also esports. Like if you want to look at Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, Valorant, all of that. The app's really easy to use. Create a lineup. You just have to pick more or less on a few player stats for your shot to win up 1,000 times your money. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive that $50 bonus. Just use the code GG and play 5, get $50. That's a win right there. They also do weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesdays, things like that. And again, since we do have, look, this is an interesting sports audience. Not only do we have guys who like sports and things like that, but we've got a lot of gamers and things like that as well here in this audience. So if you care about esports or you want to get in on esports, they've got Call of Duty, they got League of Legends, Valorant, Dota, Counter-Strike, all those things, as well as all the major sporting events as well. So whatever you want to play, run your game with Prize Picks. This week on Prize Picks, you can look at some of these things. I think college basketball is available in some regions, not in others. So go in, log in the app, check it out, see if you qualify to get on the March Madness action. But download the app today and use code GG to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5. Again, GG till you get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. So we appreciate it. It's in the description below, or you can just download the app and use code GG. Shout out to our peeps from Prize Picks.
Hell yeah.
All right. Let me get caught up with some of these things. Make sure we're caught up over on Rumble, which we are caught up over on Rumble. Jim Watari becomes a new member. Thank you. Mick Walsh for 2. MLB had games in London in 2019, 2023, and 2024.
Okay.
Wait, we had games in London last year?
I don't remember that. But I'll take his word for it.
I'm so pissed the fucking Cubs had to go out to Japan for a fucking Shohei love fest.
Shohei,
not Shohei. Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani. That does sound Japanese as well. Surprised ESPN didn't pipe in fake booze for Trump. Storm Shadow. Oklahoma State Wrestling produced Johnny Hendricks, the OG Fear the Beardo.
Okay.
A true Beardo?
I have no fucking clue. I don't know who that is.
No?
Nope. No
idea. All right. Well, other than that, I don't have much to talk about. When we've been so focused on just watching March Madness games.
Yep.
And to be honest, there's not like a ton of, if there was maybe a buzzer beater or a massive crazy upset, I probably would have made a standalone video or something, but we're just having a lot of fun watching these games. And I'm sure we'll start that back up next week at some point, maybe for some Sweet 16 or Elite 8 games. But do check out Geek Samers Locals. We've had, 40 people watching with those, and they've been fun. But yes, MLB regular season, Thursday, Geeks and Gamers Locals. If you follow the link tree, you can get to our locals, become a member, and watch some opening day baseball along with us. So we're going to be doing more of that stuff all season long for all games. So go check it out.
Yep.
And that start what time? Noon?
On Thursday, no, the first game on Thursday is 3 Eastern. Brewers at Yankees. We're going all day, just so that we can get Ryan for the Cubs Diamondbacks game at 10:10 Eastern. So we're going all fucking day, man, all day. So we're gonna have a rotating guest panelists over there. So it'll be me, Tommy, X-Wing, Ryan, probably Jeremy for a little bit, Steph, Krista. We're all gonna be rotating in and taking time watching the games. But I'll be there all day. Tommy will be there all day. Watching baseball.
Will just be asking questions about things that happened in the 90s or something.
No, Jeremy's just going to talk about Barry Bonds for the entire fucking time.
You're actually right, yeah. That's all it's going to be. John, what do you guys got going on in Black and White Sports other than shitting on Angel Reese every moment?
Not much, man. Not much. Just going to be relaxing today. Have some videos coming later on. That's about it.
There you go. I think we said that one. Yeah, I think we're all caught up. So, hey, we appreciate you guys watching us. Again, shout out to Prize Picks. Go check out that app. Download the app. Use code GG. Helps us and can help you get free fucking $50. But that is it for us. We appreciate it, guys. And we will hope your brackets survive. Hope your brackets survive at least until next weekend, unlike some other people's. And we will talk to you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.